No, I think it comes from the clay, and I think that people getting together with, potlucks and things is an offshoot of that. And it goes way back. It's been said that a pot or a piece has its meaning only when it is being used. Um, so the ultimate goal of the potter's art is for the piece to be used. And then when it's in use, you can really know how great of a pot it might be, or how beautiful it could be with flowers in it as well. So it's sort of like using, or with beautiful food in a bowl plate, really completes the piece. The pieces aren't necessarily complete until they're in use. When you're talking about functional pots. So that, yeah, and most functional potters will say all the same things. I want my work to be used. I don't want to make pots that sit on the shelf and collect dust all the time. And that's in the way I make my own pottery. I go out of my way to make it a little stronger, a little tougher, so that it can withstand being used on a daily basis. I mean, I own pots that I love, but some of them are so delicate I'm afraid to pick them up and use them on a daily basis. And it's like this big economy of people buying each other's work off of each other. And potters are your best customers because they understand and appreciate what you do. So to me, it's like this idea about getting out to the general public in terms of customers for this type of work.
Yeah.
Which is hard. It's an uphill battle against products that are available for people to use on a daily basis,
Mm-hmm.
that are much cheaper,
Yeah.
much more cheaply made, but made much more quickly and way more of them. So it's hard to get out there against what the establishment is. You're fighting an uphill battle in terms of marketing and in terms of getting people to have your stuff in their home. Things that are sometimes ritualistic gathering things, like a set of dishes. It's like a ritualistic gathering for something as simple as eating dinner. I have other pots that I really like to look at and have on the shelf, but they're not always the ones I grab in the morning when I have a cup of coffee. But I'm often surprised at which cup I grab each day. I have this huge shelf of cups from all different potters, all around, and sometimes the ones that I grab more regularly are surprising. They're the one by a first-time student that, for some reason, this cup I really like. They're not necessarily the ones by people that have been doing this for 20 or 30 years. Sometimes the ones by newer potters work just as well. And that's one of the things I've always wanted to see, is more of the public at large get excited about owning handmade things, handmade pots, eating off of handmade things. You know, there's like the work of art of everybody's individual things, whatever they are, and then there's sort of the work of art of doing the overall firing and how well is this done. So in some sense, you know, you're really involved with the fire. Uh, at times it feels almost like you're painting with the fire. Um, but yeah, so you can have a good firing or a bad firing, and it's going to affect everybody's work, the outcome of everybody's work. Wood firing and community almost have to go together, because as an artist, you couldn't do this by yourself. At least it wouldn't be as much fun. But it's a lot of physical labor to fire the pots. There's a lot of different moving parts at once. So it requires that you have people with you, and often for really long hours or hours in the middle of the night where you're tired and everything. And it's important that everybody gets along, stays on the same page, and ultimately has a good time doing it, because why else would we want to do this? So I don't think the fact that something is functional makes it more saleable. Maybe it's more accessible to, like I was saying, the general public, you know, because in general everybody can understand a coffee cup.
Yeah.
Everybody can understand a teacup. So maybe in that sense it's a little bit more accessible than maybe some abstract sculpture that not everybody really appreciates or understands. But I think the idea of a cup or a bowl or a plate, everybody understands what it is and what it's for. I think going beyond that, making things that have some individualism, heart in them, that's like taking another step from it's just functional, and it has some expression or some feeling, or it's a work of art beyond just a cup. And I think that's the real trick, to get to where you're doing both those things at once.